Empires rise with swords, laws, and fear, but history shows that the greatest forces are often invisible. Christianity began without armies, without wealth, without political power, surrounded by hostility and contempt. Its followers were hunted, mocked, imprisoned, and executed, yet they did not disappear. They endured. They believed. And against every expectation of the ancient world, their faith did not collapse under pressure. It grew stronger. This is not a story about weakness, but about resilience. Not about defeat, but about quiet victory. In the ancient world, survival depended on strength, loyalty to the state, and obedience to authority. Rome valued order above all else. Anything that disrupted unity was treated as a threat. Christianity did not march with banners or raise armies, yet it challenged Rome in a far deeper way. It questioned absolute power. It rejected emperor worship. It placed allegiance to God above allegiance to empire. To Roman officials, this was not merely religious disagreement, it was defiance. Roman religion was public, communal, and political. Christians worshipped privately, met in homes, and refused to honor the gods of the state. This refusal was interpreted not as devotion, but as rebellion. A faith that would not bow was a danger to stability. At first, Christianity seemed insignificant, a small movement rooted in a distant province. Rome had crushed far greater threats before: slave revolts, foreign armies, political conspiracies. Christianity appeared weak, disorganized, and powerless. Few could imagine it surviving, let alone spreading across the empire. Yet it did spread, quietly, patiently, through families, marketplaces, prisons, and households. It crossed boundaries Rome could not control. Slaves worshipped alongside free citizens. Women held positions of influence within Christian communities. The poor were cared for. The sick were not abandoned. This way of life stood in stark contrast to Roman norms. Suspicion grew. Rumors circulated. Christians were accused of cannibalism, immorality, and hatred of mankind. Their secrecy fueled fear. Their refusal to participate in public rituals was seen as arrogance. When disasters struck, floods, plagues, fires, Christians became easy targets for blame. It is sometime between the years 155 and 160 after Christ, in the city of Smyrna. There, an elderly man waits calmly in his home, fully aware that his life is about to end. His name is Polycarp. He is 86 years old. He has lived long enough to see generations rise and fall, and long enough to know the cost of faith. Polycarp had not sought martyrdom. He had simply lived faithfully, teaching, guiding, encouraging believers to remain steadfast. To Rome, that was enough. Influence without force was still influence. Conviction without weapons was still dangerous. When authorities came for him, Polycarp did not flee. He did not curse his captors. He welcomed them, offered them food, treated them as guests. His calm unsettled those sent to arrest him. Fear was expected. Resistance was expected. Peace was not. Before the crowd, Polycarp was given a simple choice: honor the gods and live, refuse and die. To Roman logic, this was reasonable. Life was the ultimate bargaining chip. But Polycarp saw it differently. Life without truth was not life at all. His execution was meant to serve as a warning, a public display of power, a message to Christians everywhere. Yet the message was misread. Instead of fear, it inspired courage. Instead of silence, it strengthened resolve. Stories like Polycarp's traveled far beyond Smyrna. They were repeated in whispers and letters. They were remembered, preserved, and shared. Martyrdom became testimony. Death became declaration. Rome tried to erase belief, but ended up recording it. Persecution was not constant. It came in waves. Some emperors ignored Christians, others targeted them fiercely. The uncertainty itself created pressure. Faith required vigilance. Every gathering carried risk. Every confession of belief carried consequences. Christians adapted. They met quietly. They memorized scripture. They supported one another. Leadership was decentralized. There was no single structure Rome could dismantle. The faith survived not because it was organized like an empire, but because it lived within people. What baffled Roman thinkers was Christian endurance. Pain did not produce renunciation. Death did not produce surrender. To Roman minds, suffering signaled defeat. To Christians, suffering carried meaning. It connected them to Christ. It affirmed their hope beyond death. When fire consumed much of Rome in the year 64 after Christ, fear gripped the city. Emperor Nero needed a scapegoat. Christians were blamed. Executions followed, brutal, public, designed to terrify. Yet even observers noted the cruelty went too far. Sympathy shifted, authority weakened. Fear was meant to silence belief. Instead, it exposed insecurity. Rome could punish bodies but not convictions. The harder it pressed, the clearer its limits became. Later, emperors refined the process. Under Trajan, Christians were not actively hunted, but once accused, they faced a test. Perform a sacrifice and live, refuse and die. The law was clean, efficient, and merciless. Faith became a daily decision. Ordinary people faced extraordinary choices. Merchants, soldiers, mothers, slaves. Each refusal was quiet, each execution was final. Yet the faith did not retreat. It advanced through patience, not aggression. Christianity offered something Rome could not: purpose beyond status, hope beyond death, equality before God. These ideas reshaped identity. Loyalty to Christ redefined loyalty itself. As centuries passed, persecution failed to stop growth. Communities multiplied, teachings spread. Rome remained powerful, but no longer unchallenged in spirit. The empire ruled land. Christianity shaped conscience. By the early 4th century, the unthinkable happened. The persecuted faith emerged into public life, not by conquest, but by endurance, not by force, but by survival. Rome had legions. Christianity had conviction. Rome had law. Christianity had hope. History chose the force that could not be killed. For nearly 3 centuries, Christianity lived under threat, suspicion, and pressure. Yet it endured. It grew not through violence, but through belief. The Roman Empire could command armies and crush revolts, but it could not extinguish faith. In the end, the empire that tried to erase Christianity became a footnote to the faith it could not destroy. Endurance overcame power. Hope outlasted fear. And a message born in weakness reshaped the world.